What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about a newer release, Prey. Before we begin, let me know in the comments what your thoughts on this movie are if you already saw it or if you were planning on seeing it, and make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you like these reviews, as it helps me out immensely by getting my content out there. And if you're new here, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with more movie related content like horror reviews on a near daily basis. But let's not waste any more time and let's talk about Prey. This is the origin story of the Predator in the world of the Comanche Nation 300 years ago. Naru, a skilled warrior, fights to protect her tribe against one of the first highly evolved predators to land on Earth. This is directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who previously gave us 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was a really nice surprise for the Cloverfield franchise, and here he once again breathes new life into a franchise that definitely needed it. Now, while I don't think the previous entry, The Predator, is bad, and I've liked all the other Predator sequels, none have exactly come close to matching the original movie. That one is one of my favorite action movies of all time. It keeps things pretty simple, but it made the most of the elements it utilized. And this is a return to that structure without feeling like a copy and paste of the original, after the other films either expanded the franchise scope or would just try rehashing the plot of the original just with more added elements. Again, not that I dislike any of those movies, but what makes this so great is that it gives the franchise a fresh spin while still maintaining the essence of what made the first movie so great. Trachtenberg does a great job at capturing a lot of the terror and dread that arises whenever the Predator's on the scene. I've said this in my other reviews, but while the other movies felt like action movies first and horror movies second, I think this is the first time where I felt more of the reverse. The horror elements come first. Not that it's like the scariest movie out there or anything, don't get me wrong there, but there were times it was certainly unsettling. A lot of the shots here were absolutely fantastic at really capturing the mood, and that's what I especially enjoyed about this. It's not always this loud, explosive, in-your-face experience. There is a lot of tension that stems from the Predator sometimes just taking its time and you're waiting on its next move. Now, that element was always present in each of the other movies, but I think it's a little more prevalent here. And you certainly felt more immersed in the experience as the visual effects looked really solid. Unfortunately, as much as I love the first movie and even the second film, the effects looked pretty dated for them, though to be clear, never to the point of bothering me. Here, though, there might be the occasional thing off here and there, but for the most part, the visuals were all great. Though, of course, the film's most certainly not devoid of any action, as there's still plenty to go around, and those moments would be a lot of fun. And what makes this a real interesting spin on the franchise is that this is the first entry where it's totally void of these military-style weapons being used when going to fight the Predator. Here, you have the Predator using all of its high-grade tech against people who don't have anything close to the weaponry used in any of the other Predator movies. And while the Predator definitely has the advantage here, what makes it interesting is that this lack of modern weaponry allows our characters to have to use their skills to get creative and find ways to outsmart and outmaneuver the Predator rather than just going in guns blazing. It turns into a big battle of wits, which makes the experience certainly much more engaging, similar to that thrilling fight between Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Predator at the end of the first movie, because now you really don't know what's up either anyone's sleeves. Every fight feels considerably more unpredictable and it puts you on the edge of your seat more, so I really like that, and it makes it all the more disappointing that this got released on Hulu as opposed to theater. Not only do I think it would have done really well, but I think the experience of seeing some of these moments with a crowd would have been a lot of fun. But going back to the unpredictable nature of these fights, I'd actually like to see that with future installments, which is a sentiment I've heard echoed online. Drop the Predator in different time periods, experiment with different genres, and see the different ways in which these characters, who don't have the resources that the characters from the first four movies had, do when they're up against this alien with such advanced technology. I'd be completely down for that. But as for this, at even 100 minutes, it's also very tightly paced in the way it showcases said battle of wits. There's the occasional lull here and there, like especially during the middle. There's a moment where it lets our characters breathe a bit, which was necessary, but I think maybe it just went on a bit too long. But for the most part, this film moves really quick. And this actually does something that bucks a trend from pretty much all the other Predator movies, where it actually has some really well-written characters. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first movie and Danny Glover in the second movie, and I like a number of the other characters from all four movies. But as I said in all my other reviews, the Predator movies aren't exactly known for being these deep character studies. You enjoy a lot of these characters more because of who's playing them and how they deliver a lot of their lines, not because they exactly pull at your heartstrings. I mean, the movies aren't void of all emotion whatsoever, don't get me wrong there, but those character moments are by no means at the forefront of any of the other movies, for the most part. This, however, actually balances out its thrills and its moody horror vibes with a heartfelt story about this young woman who's trying to prove herself, as Naru wants to be a hunter like her brother. And her relationships with her brother and the rest of her community are actually a big focal point in the film, as they're a big factor that motivates her in her fights against the Predator. She uses this opportunity as a chance to prove herself as a warrior, but at the end of the day, she just wants to protect her family, and I thought the way the film balanced hitting on a lot of these emotional beats while still telling a thrilling story was great. Amber Midthunder was absolutely fantastic as Naru. Her performance was very endearing and easily one of the best parts of the film. In the early sequences, she'd be so full of charisma in the interactions among her family or just talking to her dog, but then she'd flip into pure badass mode once the Predator shows up, while still never losing sight of what made her character so likable in the first place. And whenever she gets the upper hand on the Predator, it really would feel like such a satisfying experience, and it was a big reason why this was such an enjoyable watch. Because of how much you grow to enjoy her, it makes these fight sequences feel incredibly satisfying, and it goes back to what I said, where it's a film that's much more to the point than the other sequels, but it also knows how to make the most out of the elements it chooses to utilize, which I thought was brilliant. Prey is easily the best of the Predator sequels and breathes some fresh, much-needed new life into this franchise. It strips the series of all its usual elements, and instead it showcases a thrilling battle of wits in a very tightly paced manner, mixing moody horror elements with some gripping action-packed thrills, along with some truly heartfelt character work led by an excellent Amber Midthunder. If you enjoy this franchise, I think you're most certainly going to love this. Prey gets an 8.5 out of 10. So now that I've finally reviewed all the Predator movies, stay tuned, as up next will be my ranking of all 5 films. But in the meantime, let me know, did you see Prey, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Is this your favorite of the sequels? Do you like it more than the original? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and keep having fun with film.